point when he was 18, I took my hands off of like his bank account, things like that. So he was tied to my bank account, but I we separated it because I wanted him to feel the independence, but also know like I'm still there if you need me. And that's why we do the monthly check-ins, because at this point it's almost like we're kind of roommates, because he lives in his basement apartment and there are times I don't even see him because he works and goes to school. And so I think the check-ins are really important, not just in terms of finances, but I ask him like all the time, like, how you doing? What you going through? Everything all right? Just because I want him to feel supported.
Welcome back to another exciting show, the About That Water podcast, where we help the sandwich generation build strong financial habits so that they can talk about money, spend money, and enjoy their money with confidence. Today, I have somebody who is a financial wellness coach dedicated to helping individuals take control over their finances and overcome past money mistakes. As a founder of Belle Financial Services, she specializes in personalized one-on-one coaching, group workshops, and financial education, providing practical strategies to eliminate debt, building savings, and gain financial confidence. How are you doing today, Wanda?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the show. The reason why I would love to have you on this show to talk about how in the world as a sandwich generation can really get out of the rut. You know, the kids are asking for money, the parents are asking for money. And it's like when you finally look at your own savings and your own expenses, it's like, I have nothing left.
Yeah.
So how can somebody really, what is the best advice would you give to somebody who's going through that?
So I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed by finances, by what you don't have, what you think you should have, and also comparing yourself and your financial situation to others. I tell everyone, including myself sometimes, like you have to take it one step at a time. Like I'm a planner at heart. So for me, it's really important for me to evaluate what's important to me and make like an action plan of steps I can take to get there, if that makes sense. So like at one time I was like super overcome with debt, and it was really weighing on me for a long time. And I literally had to like take a step back and tell myself like, okay, I can't fix it today. I can't fix everything overnight. Let me create a plan and let me use that plan to guide my actions to just take like one step at a time.
Yeah. And that's really good that you're a planner because, you know,
Mm.
that's the only real way to make things work. To me, in my experience, it seems like planning is such a beautiful thing. So why is planning important to you though?
Um, I think because at one time I did not have a plan and my life came crashing down. And I'm probably a planner to a fault. I plan everything. Like I plan everything. If I don't have a plan, I feel out of control. And especially when it relates to my finances, I like to be in control of where my money is going. I don't want my money to tell me where it's going because I have overdue bills or something like that. Like I have to have a plan so I can point things in the direction that I want them to go. Otherwise, anxiety. Anxiety is real. So it's financial anxiety is really real.
Yeah. And for the people that are looking to, well, the person that's listening to this right now and they feel like everything is tight. We talked about planning, but what are the recommendations to even just creating a budget?
Okay, so I actually talk to a lot of clients who have never created a budget. They don't know what they're spending versus what they're making. So I think one of the first steps to take when you're getting ready to build a budget is review. You need to take a look at where your money has gone in the last, I would say 30 days. I wouldn't look beyond 30 days because it can be very overwhelming if you do that. But doing something like taking your bank statement, literally printing out your bank statement, and evaluating where your money has gone for the past 30 days, highlighting what those fixed expenses are, like what were the bills that had to be paid, figuring out how much money you're spending on those variable expenses, those wants, Uber Eats, Amazon, things like that. And really like taking a look to see, okay, this is where my money has gone, and thinking about like, where do I want my money to go? Thinking about where you want your money to go will help you to build a budget that aligns with that thought process. And then from there, you just, you got to kind of list out what you owe, who you owe, when when it's owed, and you got to track the money that's coming in. And so over time, like I feel like when you're first starting to figure out your budget, it can be a little rough. It can look kind of crazy. But once you get into the habit of doing it, like there's so many tools that can help you. There's so many apps. I'm a spreadsheet girl, so I still to this day just stick to a spreadsheet. But you'll get to a point where it's kind of like your money Bible. Like it's literally like your plan for your money.
Like that. Now, you also specialize in helping people with their credit. And
I said I do.
Yes. And one of the things that Mark Cuban has is he actually recommends paying off high interest debt as the best place to kind of invest due to the guaranteed returns. But he continues to say that the best place to invest is to pay off all of your credit cards and burn them. Adding, if you're paying 15% of 20% interest, or 20% interest, paying that down is like earning 15 or 20%. Do you agree or disagree with what he said?
Okay. So I do agree that it's very important to get rid of high interest debt, for sure. Credit cards with 18, 20, 29% interest rate, you're literally just throwing your money away. But I am a credit card girly. Okay. I have a couple credit cards and they all serve a purpose. I like rewards. I like points and all of that. So yes, I agree that it's important to get rid of that debt. You don't want to carry a balance on your credit card month to month. It's better to invest, yes, for sure. But if you are a disciplined individual and you can use your credit cards responsibly, you can also benefit from the rewards. Like I have a platinum Amex that is my best friend because I use it consistently. I pay it off every month, but I build points and rewards and I get, first class flights and I get upgrades to different things. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like you don't want to carry a balance now because it really does. It not only affects your pockets, but it does affect your credit. Having high utilization will bring your credit score way down. But also, if you're disciplined and you can manage the way that you use your credit cards effectively, you can actually benefit from the rewards. So I agree, but I disagree. But I agree.
Because it goes back to having like an authorized user. Now, you have a child. Now, do you actually have them as an authorized user on any of your credit cards?
I do. So my son is 19. When he was 15, I added him to one of my Capital One credit cards as an authorized user. And the reason I did that was, number one, I had that card for about 10 years. And I never carried a balance. My credit limit was, I think at the time it was like $17,000 or something. So I knew I had a good amount of credit age plus a good amount of credit history that he would benefit from. That was the only card that I added him to when he was 15. So by the time he was 18, he had 3 years of being on that card and it being managed very well. So when we checked his credit score when he turned 18, his credit score was a 761. And then at that time, I had him open his own credit card to start building history and age in his own name. So he manages that himself. He knows, you know, the do's and don'ts of your credit card because I'm his mama. But now he's like building his credit score is even more solid and secure because he's building that history and payment history in his own name.
That makes sense. Did your parents teach you about that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Oh, no, they did not. I love my parents. They're the best things. If it wasn't for them, I would be here. But unfortunately, I did not learn a lot of financial topics when I was a kid. Um, I did not. And because of that, when I left home, I did not pay attention to credit, debt, things like that. I became a teen mom, married young, and did not manage my finances at all. I let my husband manage my finances for me. So by the time I was divorced, I was in a hell of a lot of debt. I was in a lot of debt. My credit score was insanely low. I had $87 in my pocket. I always say that when I left, I left with $87 in my pocket, a 472 credit score, and a mountain of debt. And this is one of the reasons why I tell everybody, I tell my clients, I tell my friends, I tell my family, if I can change my life the way that I did, coming from that, anybody can. Because I had no idea where to even start, but I forced myself to evaluate my problem, evaluate my finances, and create a plan to get me out of that mess. But I love my parents, but no, they did not.
Okay. Well, what was the plan to get out of the rut? Like, what was the first thing you did?
So honestly, it was very jarring when I realized just how bad my financial situation was. I honestly had no idea. And that was a lesson learned. I put my trust in someone else. I thought that they were looking out for my financial future, and they were not. So it became clear that I needed to figure something out when I went to apply for an apartment and got denied. And so I then had to take a step back, look at my finances, look at how much I owed. That was the first thing I did was put literally write out what I owed and who, and just like kind of sit with that for a while. And then I started to brainstorm like, okay, this is what I owe. I have very limited savings. What am I going to do? And I went into survival mode, honestly. I started working my butt off because I knew I had to increase my income if I wanted to take care of this debt and get to a point where I could actually like have my own place and provide for my kid and things like that. So that was like priority number one. It was like, okay, I know what I owe. I know what I have in savings. It's not adding up. I need to figure out how to bring in more money so I can take care of these issues. And it took a while, but I did it. I was very determined and disciplined. And over time, I did it.
Right. So, like education, like did you go to like the library, or was it like you had
Um,
mentors or something like that to help you build that
so
foundation?
I did not really have mentors. I started to read a lot.
Mm.
So there were a couple books that I read that even today I reread at least every couple years. It was literally like focused on just like financial literacy for women, and it was bare basics. It was literally like, this is a budget. This is how you allocate your money to wants, needs, savings, things like that. And I started really like just falling in love with learning about different financial topics. And I read something somewhere that sticks with me through everything. And it was, you are on nobody's timeline but your own.
So
And
true.
that was something that I constantly told myself as I was getting through this period in my life. It was like I was getting frustrated at the fact that these paychecks aren't big enough. Like these paychecks aren't big enough. I owe a
Right.
lot, you know? But I had to give myself some grace. It was like I can only do one thing at a time. Like, yeah, the credit score sucks right now. The debt is mounting, but I can only take it one step at a time. And developing that mindset of I'm not going to compare myself to anyone else. I'm going to focus on just one step at a time. I'm going to educate myself. All of that together, just like it really worked in my favor. I had my head down for a couple years where I'm sure people were like, "Where's she at?
Right.
What is she going through?" But I mean, and at the same time, I'm a mom, so I had to do what I had to do for my kid, and it was really important for me to get my life together so that I could be in a position where I'm teaching him what to do and what not to do as it relates to your finances.
And I think that's the beauty of being a mom and actually not giving up on yourself is that you transfer the information of what you're comfortable with and that you knew for certain that actually shared. Going back to like how your parents only shared but so little with you, but it was just enough because that was what they were comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, yeah.
And now look at you now.
Oh,
So
yeah. Money, having a positive money mindset and just being disciplined is very important in this household. My son is 19 and he he's a really cool human, I gotta say. He's a cool person. But seeing how responsible he is with his finances, and I'm not saying he hasn't made mistakes. He has. He's made a couple mistakes where he's ambitious like his mother. He likes to take risks sometimes, and sometimes those risks don't work out for him. But he knows the importance of paying your bills on time, budgeting, making sure you have a certain amount in savings. And we check in. We have financial check-ins once a month where I just simply ask him, like, "How we doing? How you doing? You have, this bill coming up. Like, what does your savings look like?" And things like that. And he's really honest. He's really honest and open about how his finances are doing. And I tell him all the time, like, I would rather, if he ever got in trouble financially, he would come to me, take a loan from the bank of mom, rather than trying to figure it out on his own out here. So he knows he has that sense of security. He knows that if he has questions about different financial topics, he can come and talk to me. And so that's something that I wish I had with my parents when I was a kid. And I'm really trying to just instill just a certain level of discipline with him because he's such a great person, and I just know his future is so bright, and I want to just foster him being the best version of himself as much as I possibly can. So,
yeah, I want to commend you for, taking that time out to even have those open discussions on a monthly basis. Cause, you know, I don't even think my mom ever sat me down to even say like, "Hey, how you doing financially? Like,
and,
let's have this moment to kind of talk about it." Finances or even talk about her finances. It's mostly I grew up in an
yeah,
area where they was like, your child stay out of grown folks' business.
yeah,
That was it.
that's how I grew up too. But I don't know, like maybe because I had my son when I was young, I've always been very transparent with him in every aspect, and I want him to be the best version of himself. And now that he is technically an adult, he's still a baby. um, I just don't want him to feel like he has to make certain mistakes that I made. So I made it a point when he was 18, I took my hands off of like his bank account, things like that. So he was tied to my bank account, but we separated it because I wanted him to feel the independence,
Mhm.
but also know like I'm still there if you need me. And that's why we do the monthly check-ins because at this point, it's almost like we're kind of roommates because he lives in his basement apartment, and there are times I don't even see him because he works and goes to school. And so I think the check-ins are really important, not just in terms of finances, but I ask him like all the time, like, how you doing? What you going through? Everything all right? Just because I want him to feel supported, no matter how old he gets. He's still my baby. So.
Oh. Can you take us back to 2023 where you took your mom to Spain?
Oh my God. So on it, okay. So one thing that is super important to me financially is being able to spoil my mama. I At this point, I don't think I don't have nothing left to give because I've done it all, Lord. I have surprised her with trips, chefs, all kinds of things. But the Spain trip was something that came from more of I travel with my son by like every other year. We take an adventure. So we've been to Italy, Africa. We've been all over. And I was trying to plan out where we were going to go. And I just got this idea like, well, what if we took Gammy? Like, what if we took my mom? Because she's never been on a trip with us before. And I can always tell just in like talking to my mom, like, it would be something that she would love to do. And so we settled on Spain because it's somewhere we had never been before. Like my son and I had never been. I knew she had never been because she doesn't travel internationally a lot at all. So I settled on Spain, did my budget for it because we plan everything.
Yep.
Okay. We plan everything. I decided the time of the year that we were going. And then I had to figure out like how was I going to tell her. So I came up with the idea of telling her during like Christmas Day because I was hosting Christmas that year. So I had my siblings in, I had my father in, and I had her in. I created a video within Canva, which was literally like, kind of guess where you're going. She had no idea. She had no idea. She lost her mind when she realized that she was going somewhere. And then she lost her mind even more when she realized she was going with us, like the fact that she was going with me and my son. We went for, I want to say 6 days, and it was one of the best experiences ever. Spain is like, I have to go back because it's incredibly beautiful. She didn't have to pay a dime for anything. And that is always something that I try and do for her. I like to surprise her with experiences and, I don't ever want her to have to worry about the financial piece of it. So to see her be able to just relax and enjoy and not have to worry about money it's one of my most favorite memories for sure.
That is amazing because a lot of people wish they could do that and they just feel as though, but again, it goes back to your timeline is your own timeline. And when you can do it for a trip. And I would love to actually probably bring you back on. We might have to talk offline about how you plan that trip.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's another thing too though. I always say that so many things look like they're so extravagant or so hard to do. If you plan for them, you can do it. I promise. I planned for that trip for about a year. And that when I say I planned for it, once I chose where we are going to go, I started saving consistently for it. I knew how much it was going to cost me. I started saving like automatic transfers into my Spain fund. Like it's something that you really can do if you plan for it. And all the other things that I do, like it might look like I live an extravagant life at times, but I promise you, I am like the most frugal. I'm the most frugal person. If there's not a plan for it, I'm not doing it. So
I like it. Obviously, I like it because we plan everything. I mean, just from finance to finance, like that's kind of what we do. Because if it's not in the plan, it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And that's
Like
called the boundaries. Like,
if it's not in the plan, it doesn't exist.
right.
Like, so it has to be in the plan. I'm planning like 3 trips right now.
Amazing. I'm just planning one big trip. Well, actually, throughout this year, yeah, I got 2 coming up, but just like a big trip, probably
Yeah,
like next year, and then probably one later this year. I'm hesitant depending on how the finances go.
yeah, it makes sense. You're on
Yeah,
nobody's timeline but your own. So,
so true. So we're gonna move over to the future side of the house, which is like, what skills or habits do you feel that's going to take you to the next level?
so one skill that has taken me to every level is discipline. So even now, life looks different for me these days. Um, Simply because I've been a mom my whole adult life, and now I'm kind of an empty nester, but not. And so my finances are my own. I'm not spending as much towards, raising my son. Um, so things look a little different, but I'm very disciplined. I know what I want my future to look like. I'm not one of those people I'm not going to work a corporate job until I'm 65. Will not happen. Will not happen. So I know that's the ultimate goal for me, is to be able to be in complete control of my time. With that takes discipline. I need to be able to direct my finances where I need them to go to support that lifestyle. So investing, saving, things like that. Another habit is just educating myself on different financial topics, financial literacy. I have several books that I literally will reread depending on where I am in my life. And I just like kind of a refresher on certain financial concepts. I like to review my budget. I'm a planner, but I also review everything. Like I like to take a look back at my cash flow on a quarterly basis to see what I'm spending my money on. Um, I like to negotiate bills. That's a big thing of mine is negotiating my bills. So just, continuing to follow the discipline and just the education, I think that's going to set me up for really enjoying this phase of my life.
Okay. Um, what is one bill? Because I'm sure the person that's listening to this was like negotiating your bills. What is one bill that you always negotiate?
So my cell phone bill,
Oh, sweet.
mhm,
Okay. Yeah, I
all
just
the time.
paid my cell phone bill for a whole year for $300. So
That's not bad.
you're right, for 12 months for $300, and I was like, sold.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
I would say my cell phone bill and then my car insurance too.
That's a good
Um,
one.
Car insurance, it's kind of a hit or miss, but I always try. And it's dependent on, I've been with Progressive for 15 years. And so every so often you got to call their bluff. I'm going to go to another insurance. And every so often you need to check to make sure you're getting the discounts that you should be getting based on how long you've been with them. The last time I did that, there was one discount that was missing from my profile, and that lowered my monthly cost by like $40.
Oh
So
wow, that's good.
yeah, just like doing things like that. With my cell phone bill, I like to look at the itemized bill every so often just to see what fees, like what am I paying for? And why am
That's
I
what
paying this?
that's the reason why I went prepaid, because I was like, I don't have those itemized fees. It's just like, hey, this
Yeah,
is one flat fee.
that was very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've considered going prepaid, but I still pay my son's cell phone bill too.
Uh,
The one
gotcha.
bill that he's not
Okay.
paying on his own. But I do like our plan. I get a really good discount just because of who my employer is too. So it's kind of one of those things that I just do. But yeah, I negotiate. Look,
Okay.
I not only negotiate my everyday bills, but I've enrolled in certain programs that will make my variable expenses a fixed expense. So like my gas bill, my electric bill, I know exactly what I'm paying month to month because I'm on their budget billing schedule. So I know like
That
gas,
makes sense.
gas and electric, I know exactly what it's going to be month to month, and it's great. And all I did literally was go on the website and sign up for their budget billing. That was it.
So
So
easy.
it works. I'm telling you, you gotta just, do your due diligence and figure out a way to just lower some costs, because everything is high out here. And it's important that we just are mindful of what we're paying out and just finding ways to just lower expenses when we can.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, is there anything you want to leave the audience before we dive into the final four questions?
Let's see. I will say this. Right now, with the way that our economy is going and just the way that life is lifing, it is easy to get discouraged or intimidated by your current financial profile, your financial structure right now. And I think it's very important that we just take a minute to just stop and think, look at our finances, look at what we're bringing in versus what we're putting out. Like, look at our cash flow. And if you're not happy with it, don't get overwhelmed, but just take it one step at a time. Figure out what's most important to you and then create a plan around that, because it's very easy to just get caught up in the weight of not having the money that you want or having just mounting bills. But if you just take it one step at a time, you stop comparing yourself and your finances to others, and you just keep your head down and focus, I promise it. You can, if I can do it, anybody can. And once you get to the other side, life is amazing. Life is amazing.
All right. You ready for the final four?
Sure.
Sound too confident. Number one, what does wealth mean to you?
Freedom.
Mm.
It's freedom. It's the ability to do things and not worry about how they're getting paid or what is this going to take away from. It's the ability to spoil my family, my friends. It's the freedom to be able to book a trip home because I want crabs. Like, it's freedom, and it's being able to be carefree and not be so consumed about what the future looks like. Like, I feel pretty confident that, you know, I'm cool. I'm good with the finances. We're in a good space.
Good. Number two, what was your worst money mistake?
I'm putting my trust in someone uh, who did not have anything about my financial future in their best interest. So just being oblivious and thinking that the person that I was with was taking care of the finances. That was the worst mistake I ever made. Worst mistake I ever made. So never again.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode. Number three, is there a book that inspired your journey or changed your perspective?
Let's see. Okay. There's a book called Smart Women Finish Rich. It's by David Bach. And I have read that book probably 4 times throughout my life. It breaks down financial topics and concepts based on just like what you should be thinking about as a woman. And it has like a workbook aspect of it as well, where there's activities that you can do and come back to and refer to. That's a book that will forever be one of my faves for sure.
Nice. And he actually has it on his website, so you can download the PDF if you need it.
There we go. See, it's a PDF version now.
Yes.
Lord, I have the book. I have the paperback.
Okay. Number four.
Okay.
I'll edit this out.
Ah, sorry.
Too funny.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's my fault. Everything's funny.
I'm trying my best. Okay.
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 Number 4. What is your favorite dish to make?
Favorite dish to make. Okay, so I'm pescatarian, so I don't eat chicken, beef, pork, none of that. None of that. Okay. No judgment, but
No judgment.
we
You know,
don't
we
eat that over
listen and we
here.
don't judge. Okay.
Um, so I love all types of fish. I make a really good, like, it's a miso and soy sea bass. It's such a sea bass is such a great fish. Um, but I make it in this like miso soy marinade, and I love Korean sweet potatoes. So I'll pair that. I pair this sea bass with a Korean sweet potato and then like asparagus or Brussels sprouts. So it's a very filling meal, but it's like healthy too. So it's really good.
Okay.
You should try
Well,
it.
I'll take your word for it. I'll ask you for the recipe for the marinade.
Yeah, it's simple. You just it's
Okay.
miso. It's miso, soy sauce, sugar. It's simple.
Okay. I make things difficult for some reason,
All
even
right.
though they're simple. I'm trying to do better with that. Okay. The last question of the show, which is,
Mhm.
where could people find out more about you?
Okay, so you can find out more about me on my website, so bellfinancialservices.com. On the website, you can actually sign up for my newsletter, which is literally just some money tips on a monthly basis. Since April is Financial Literacy Month, I've been sending out like weekly newsletters, which it's just judgment-free money tips for any and everyone. I'm also on Instagram, so Bell Financial Services, Facebook, Bell Financial Services. But the best way to get just tips and tricks and tidbits is that newsletter for sure.
Awesome. Well, Wanda, it's been amazing, catching up with you since seeing you
Pleasure.
at so many different FinCon events. But, the person that's listening to this right now, I just want to let you know that all it takes is a little discipline,
Mhm.
and really it's a mind over matter type deal. You got this. Don't give up on yourself and continue to run your race. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You got what it takes to be successful in
Exactly.
whatever financial way that you want to. All right.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Wanda. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for listening. Y'all all have a good day. We out. Peace.